Hey there, folks. Hope you're holding it together in these dark times. Today, we wanted to take a look at how some on the right are looking at and talking about the ICE killing of Alex Pretti. And not only that, but see them do a complete 180. The YouTube channel we're talking about today is a channel called Trench Grenade. The channel has around 60,000 subscribers, and he likes to LARP as a militia member and even tries to create his own little militias in his Discord group. It's a whole thing. Nonetheless, 19 hours ago, he made a video called The Left Wants a Civil War. Let's hear what he has to say.
Communist and socialist, you are not welcome here. As I sit here before you today on the verge of one of the greatest winter storms the southern United States will most likely ever see in most of our lifetimes, the far left, communists, socialists, and a shocking number of our elected officials on the left are currently calling for civil unrest and active civil war. They are calling for riots and protests around the United States and attempting to burn down Minneapolis as we speak. There's a couple things we're going to discuss here today. We're going to discuss why the far left is saying this and how they're trying to use the Second Amendment to justify the actions of the criminal who was killed today legally and lawfully by the ICE agents during that attempted arrest.
Okay, so, being that Trench Grenade is, white nationalist adjacent, or maybe white nationalist curious, someone should tell him that most of us on the left are not advocating for communism, but instead a mixed economy. There's a lot of great aspects to capitalism and the freedoms that come with it. Nonetheless, let's hear this propaganda that he's going to push from the right. And again, remember, he's going to do a complete 180, so let's try to get through it together.
Now, what the far left's mobs of socialists and communists are trying to claim is that this individual was simply trying to exercise their First Amendment and Second Amendment rights. Now, all of that goes out the window when you prohibit federal agents and federal officers from exercising their duties to export illegal aliens, criminals from this nation, physically prohibiting them from doing their duties. And then in the course of their duties, when they attempt to arrest you or make contact with you, you attempt to pull a loaded handgun out and point it at them. That is a felony, and you are obstructing their duties, and guess what? You are actively threatening them with that handgun. And what I have seen from the left is that they were trying to use this as well, isn't the right for Second Amendment rights? Isn't the right for gun rights and right to carry? And he was legally carried. Yeah, that goes out the window when you attempt to pull that handgun out and point it at a federal agent that is trying to exercise their duties in the scope of their duties and export illegal criminals from this nation.
And so it's strange that he left this video up, being that he's making claims that are so obviously false. But we've been talking about this for a long time, about how this isn't 1930s Germany, about how today everyone's carrying a phone with a video camera in their pocket. And there's no question atrocities have happened without people witnessing or the ability to capture those atrocities, especially to immigrants. But when it comes to Alex Pretti, there was lots of witnesses, lots of video angles. And the video clips spread like wildfire across social media, across mainstream media, and it quickly became clear that he was a U.S. citizen, a nurse who worked for the VA, someone actually contributing to make society better. So 18 hours later, Trench Grenade comes out with another video. This time, it's faceless. He just has a thumbnail up, and he keeps that image up throughout the video. He titles the video State of the World, Emergency Report. But think about it. You're some militia LARPer. You're all about the Constitution. You've been trying to put the left in this propaganda brainwashed box for so long. And it turns out the propaganda you're pushing goes against the First and Second Amendment of this Constitution you're supposed to care so much about. Now, it's not like he's going to acknowledge things and say, hey guys, I made a mistake, I screwed up. But instead, he's just going to list the facts of reality, which, again, is a very strange thing to hear coming from someone on the right. But maybe it's a moment of healing. I don't know. Let's take a look.
The Minneapolis shooting. What follows is my reviewed chain of events based on over 7 separate vantage points and video angles I have personally examined. This is how the incident unfolded according to that footage and eyewitness analysis. The victim in this case, 37-year-old Alex Pretti. ICU nurse for the VA, legally armed with a SIG Sauer P320 pistol at the time of the incident. Alex was filming federal agents while standing near active traffic, waving for vehicles to pass safely. A woman was shoved to the ground by federal agents during the operation. Alex moved to assist the woman to her feet, holding his phone in one hand and helping her with the other. A federal agent pepper sprayed Alex in the face. Alex raised his free hand high in the air, appearing to comply with federal agents. Approximately 6 to 7 agents then threw Alex to the ground. While Alex was pinned and not resisting, an agent in a gray jacket positioned to Alex's left removed Alex's legally owned and carried SIG P320 from its holster. Upon seeing Alex disarmed, a federal agent positioned behind Alex drew his service pistol and fired approximately 5 rounds into Alex's back, killing him instantly. Agents then appeared to clap and celebrate immediately following the shooting. 2 agents advanced forward, did not render medical aid, and instead searched for a weapon that was no longer present because Alex Pretti had already been disarmed by the federal agent in the gray jacket. That is the sequence of events as shown in over 7 vantage points I have reviewed. The Department of Homeland Security has stated that these officers acted in self-defense, that they had a defensive shooting in self-defense of their fellow agents and feared for their lives. Based on the angles that I have reviewed, that statement is not only false, but in fact a lie to the American people and not representing the situation as it presents itself in 4K evidence, again with over 7 vantage points that you can clearly see this unfold frame by frame.
So a lot of different things to take away there. I think one of the more interesting things is the way he stumbles over the word false when talking about how the statement that the DOJ gave was false. Almost like his body was trying to fight it. He's been spewing propaganda and taking in propaganda so much, his body's rejecting being able to communicate reality. But let's not kid ourselves. What we just watched wasn't about accountability. It was damage control coddling with reality. For hours, the story was useful. It fit the narrative. The left was violent, the Constitution was conditional, and the killing was framed as righteous and lawful. But the moment the footage became undeniable, the ideology didn't soften. It snapped. The same person who preached absolutism suddenly discovered nuance. The same voice that dismissed constitutional rights became a reluctant witness to them. And that's the point. This wasn't a change of values. It's a forced correction. When your worldview depends on who's holding the gun, who's wearing the badge, and which side the victim falls on, the truth becomes a liability instead of a principle. What broke here wasn't just a talking point. It was the illusion that these movements are driven by law, order, or consistency. Because when the facts don't cooperate, the rhetoric doesn't evolve, it retreats quietly, awkwardly, without apology. That's why when you apply scrutiny or ask questions in comments, they just disappear. And that's how you know the danger isn't chaos or civil war hysteria. The danger is a politics where reality itself only matters after it can no longer be ignored. And then there's Alex, someone whose life was stolen in a moment that should have sparked collective introspection. His death and the broader pattern of violence here at home highlights this stark hypocrisy, where we're a nation loudly condemning the atrocities abroad in Iran, while often minimizing or even rationalizing brutal repression within our own borders. And we lose our ability to speak for freedom and justice when we treat these principles as conditional, selective, or convenient rather than universal.
Leopards are eating my face.